Portugal, 1917. A country exhausted by war abroad and upheaval at home. Faith under pressure, science rising, and in the countryside, no electricity, no radio, 3 children watching sheep beneath an open sky. This story does not begin with a miracle. It begins with appointments. Between May and October of 1917, 3 shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos and her cousins, Francisco and Jacinta Mato, reported repeated encounters with a luminous presence at a field called Cova da Iria. What makes this case different from countless others is not the claim itself, it's the structure. The entity did not appear once and vanish into rumor. According to the preserved testimony, it returned on the same date, at the same hour, month after month, and then made a public promise. In October, there will be a sign so that all may believe. No ambiguity, no private revelation. A date was given, and history showed up to see whether the sky would keep the appointment. October 13th arrives under relentless rain. For nearly 24 hours, the region has been soaked. The field is a quagmire. Clothes are heavy with water, shoes sink into mud. And yet they come. Not hundreds, not thousands. By conservative estimates, 50,000 to 70,000 people converge on Cova da Iria. Believers, skeptics, journalists, scientists. They are standing in the rain because 3 children said something would happen at noon. Shortly before the event, witnesses begin to describe subtle but consistent changes. A localized chill, a sudden drop in temperature that moves through the crowd. Then, something auditory, a hum. Multiple witnesses describe it independently. A buzzing, a vibration, like the hum of a hive, not coming from the ground, but from the air itself. Among those reporting it is Dr. Domingos Pinto Coelho, a physician trained to notice physical anomalies, not mystical ones. Above the small oak tree at the center of the field, a white, translucent cloud forms. It is not fog. It does not behave like weather. Witnesses describe it as luminous, self-contained, descending, hovering, screening whatever is about to appear. This is the last moment of normalcy. Then the clouds part. But what appears is not the sun as it is known. Multiple witnesses, including Dr. Almeida Garrett, a professor of natural sciences at Coimbra University, are explicit on this point. What they see is a dull silver disk, not blinding, not incandescent, a defined object with a sharp, clean edge, likened repeatedly to mother of pearl or a polished metallic plate. Here is a critical physiological detail. People stare at it directly. No retinal pain, no dazzle, no instinctive aversion. This alone separates the phenomenon from the actual sun. The object appears veiled in its own light, distinct from the sky around it. Then it begins to rotate. The disk spins rapidly on its axis. Witnesses describe it as a fire wheel, throwing off monochromatic bands of color. Not a rainbow, not diffuse light. Discrete color shifts, violet, yellow, blue, washing across the landscape. Faces change color. Clothing changes color. The ground itself appears to cycle through hues as though illuminated by a controlled source. This is not passive reflection, it is projection. And then the movement changes. The object does not drift, it moves. Witnesses describe an erratic descent, sharp, jagged motions zigzagging downward in a pattern modern investigators would later call a falling leaf trajectory. The disc appears to drop toward the crowd. Panic erupts. People scream. Some fall to their knees. Others believe the object is about to collide with the earth. This is not reverence. This is fear. At its lowest point, the object halts, instantly. Then, without acceleration build-up, without arc, It reverses direction and ascends vertically at extreme speed. Within moments, it vanishes. The entire sequence lasts approximately 10 minutes, not seconds, not a flash. 10 sustained minutes of observation by tens of thousands of people. And then comes the most physically perplexing element of the case. As the phenomenon ends, witnesses look down. Their clothes, soaked moments earlier, are completely dry. Heavy wool garments, layered skirts, mud-coated boots, dry. The ground itself, described earlier as a mire, is no longer saturated. This is not subjective. This is tactile. From a physics standpoint, the implication is staggering. To evaporate that volume of water across tens of thousands of people and a wide field in under 10 minutes would require a massive release of thermal energy, likely in the infrared or microwave spectrum. No known technology in 1917 could produce such an effect. No conventional atmospheric explanation accounts for it. And no such energy release was felt as heat by the witnesses themselves. The energy was selective. This was not the first anomaly reported during the series. On earlier dates, May and September, witnesses described a strange precipitation. White filaments, flakes, luminous petals. They drifted downward like snow, but when touched, or when they reached the ground, they disintegrated, vanishing almost instantly. Modern UFO literature would later label similar material angel hair, reported in multiple mid-20th century cases and often hypothesized as a byproduct of propulsion systems. In 1917, witnesses had no framework for such a comparison. They simply described what they saw. The event does not fade into obscurity. Journalists are present, reports are written. Not all are believers. Some openly state they cannot explain what they witnessed, but also cannot deny that something extraordinary occurred. In the years that follow, testimony accumulates, investigations are conducted. And in 1930, after reviewing the documentation, the Catholic Church formally declares the events worthy of belief, allowing public devotion. This is not a scientific ruling. It is an acknowledgement that the record cannot be dismissed as fraud or mass hallucination. This episode is not about proving divinity. It is not about disproving faith. It is about documenting a mass-witnessed, high-energy aerial phenomenon, complete with acoustic anomalies, atmospheric effects, controlled movement, light projection, and a measurable thermal outcome, observed by tens of thousands of people, including trained professionals, at a pre-announced time and place. That combination is extraordinarily rare. Whatever occurred above Fátima in 1917 was not private. It was not fleeting, and it was not unobserved. A date was given, a crowd arrived, and the sky did something no one present forgot. We are not here to decide what it was. We are here to acknowledge that it happened, and that for 10 minutes on a rainy afternoon in Portugal, the unknown answered a public invitation. That is a close encounter.